Hello guys, in this new tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the functionality of the plugin of the game module. But first, I forgot to mention in the previous tutorial that the module is not recognized by the engine. If you open the project now, the engine will not recognize the game module, so for fixing that I'm going to edit this file, this uproject file. And if I edit, I'm going to add a new module here. You can see that there is only one module, so I'm going to copy this module, and the name of the new module will be the name of the module we created in the previous tutorials. So I'm going just to copy and paste it. I save, I close, and I'm going to regenerate the project. So if I open Visual Studio again, I compile the project, and okay, it's working. So I'm going to open Real Engine project, and here you can go to Windows, to Developer Tools, and to the modules. So I'm going to search CSW, and you can see here that the module is loaded. So yes, now the module is being recognized by the engine. Now let's create a C++ class here, and for this game module I'm going to create a blueprint function library. Now you can create classes using this automatic method, but you can also create files manually. But for the first time I recommend you to create the classes using this, because some dependencies are created automatically while using this method. So let's create a blueprint function library, and so I'm going to select the game module, CSW utilities, and you can see that it creates a public and private folder. I'm going to call this library CSW utilities blueprint library, CSW blueprint utilities. So I'm going to create a class, and it gives me an error, which is very common using this method. So I'm going to click no. Now if I open Visual Studio, you can hear that there is two game modules. So I'm going to open CSW utilities, and you can see here the files I created, and I'm going to compile, build, and the compilation succeeded. Apparently since 4.16 the files that are created doesn't include the project name. You can see that this source file is included in the header, and the header is included in the files it's being used, but these files are not included in the project name. So that's really nice. It's using include what you use convention by default, I think. So also you can see here that if you go to your project, when you created the blueprint library, it includes these additional dependencies. If you create the blueprint function library manually, you need to include these additional dependencies by hand. And if you don't include that, the errors that the compiler shows are really confusing. So that's why I recommend you to use the editor to create your classes, the first time at least. If you create an actor using the editor, you can create other actors manually, because manually I think it's faster. By the way, if you see that if I'm using some weird shortcuts here, it's probably because I'm using Visual Assist. And I recommend you really to use Visual Assist because it improves the Unreal Engine workflow. And I'm going to show you my configurations here. If I go to Performance, my multi-threading parsing is enabled, and pause all files when opening a project is disabled. I have IntelliSense disabled completely too, so IntelliSense is not working at all at this point. I also have some mouse shortcuts you can see here. And now I'm going to create the functionality of the plugin game module inside the source and header file. So I'm going to create the signature of my first function. I'm going to make this function static and blueprint pure. The category will be CSW utilities blueprint library. Now I'm going to create the function static void get all actors with component that will get me all the actors in the world that use a component, and will also return me the components of those actors. It's kind of similar than the function get all actors with interface. So you can see the signature here. I have two const as inputs and two arrays as outputs. I don't know why this actor component is not showing me correctly. You can see the signature here, and I'm going to press enter so you can see the signature. This method is public, so I'm going to write public and add the semicolon here. Now, using Visual Assist, I'm going to create the implementation of this signature. So now I am in the source file. If I compile, okay, it succeeds. So now if I create an actor in my project, I'm going to call it test. So here I can see the node I created. I'm going to search CSW, get all actor with component, and it's here. You can see it has the same signature as the function I created. It has two inputs as const and two outputs as arrays. Now I'm going to add some meta properties to the function. So I'm just going to copy and paste. As you can see here, I have this display meta. I'm going to change the name. The word context meta. That, by the way, I copied from the nodes that Epic created. So I have this determines output type and the dynamic output program that will make my output to change according to the type of the component. So I'm going to make this one line, and I have here my first function. So I'm going to compile and succeed. Now if I return to my project, I'm going to file, refresh all nodes, and my node changed. So this is the beauty of using game modules, because you don't need to close your project and open each time you made a change. So you can see here that if I made a change, I'm going to change the name, and if I compile, I'm going to wait here, and you can see here that hotreload works in game modules, but it doesn't work in plugins. So yes, this is a nice workaround for making plugins. You can make your plugins here and work with a more nice workflow instead of creating plugins directly and opening and closing and opening your project. So I'm going to change the name again so it's correct, and I'm going to finish the functionality of this function. So for now I'm going to copy and paste the functionality I made from another project, and as we are using include what you use convention, you need to include the files these objects are using. So in this case we need to include the file, so world is recognized, and we need to include a file for actor iterator. If we compile now, it throws errors. So yes, we need to include this file, include some headers, so these errors will disappear. And you can use Visual Assist to include headers very easy just by pressing middle mouse, but I don't know why this is happening, why these objects are not being recognized. But if I show you another project, you can see that if I middle click word, I can include word, so this will work. So maybe in your project this will not happen, but for now I'm going to include the headers by copy and pasting. So I'm going to include. When you're using the include what you need convention, I recommend you to include engine/engine.h. It includes lots of headers, and in this case it's including the world. So right now the world has been recognized, so we need a header for the actor iterator. I'm going to copy and paste, and this is the include for the actor iterator, the engine utils. So I'm going to compile, and it succeeds. Now I'm going to document this function, so I'm going to copy and paste a comments. So you can see that the params are commented. So if I compile, I go to my project. So if I refresh my nodes, I create my function, and you can see that the comments are here. So it's very nice to comment functions while in developing plugin at least. So let's see. Yes, everything is working. So right now, this is the workflow for creating a plugin using the include what you need convention. And now I'm going to create more functions, so I'm going to speed up the video. You will be able to download this plugin from the link in the description, by the way, so you don't really need to worry for what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to compile to see if everything is working okay, and yes, I don't need to include anything more. And this is probably because this engine/engine.h includes lots of headers. So if I open here, you can see that it is including these headers. You can also include engine.h, but I don't recommend you because it is slow. If you open engine.h, it includes lots of headers that you probably won't use. So I recommend you to include engine/engine.h for pretty much every source files you create. Now I'm just going to change the signature of my functions, so I'm going to speed up the video. I'm going to compile, and as you can see, everything was done without closing or opening the project. So I'm going to test, and everything is working. So I'm going to wrap up this video now, and in the next tutorials I'm going to show you how you can use the plugin exporter project to package this plugin. So this plugin will be compatible with the marketplace, and what else? And yes, I'm going to show you how you can create content in your plugin. In this case, we are going to create macros. So let's continue in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.